Good morning. It is the 16th of June 2014. The market has been open for maybe half an hour or so. This is the All Ordinaries as it closed on Friday. I'll just zoom it in actually while we're there. So this is the channel that I spoke about last time that I was putting in to try and contain the price movement and make some sense of what's going on at the moment. And then here's the even narrower channel that I put in that I was saying just shows the volatility decreasing in the market, going from these kind of ranges now to these kind of ranges in the last couple of months. I'll just zoom it in there just to the last few months, and here's the narrow channel now. And what we can see happen on Friday was that we had a low on Friday, if you can see that, of 5,354, which was all but as low as the prior third time frame turning point there of 5,353. So at the moment that is higher than that. Now what happens today will or rather depending on what happens today will change a few things. So if, for example, today we get a day that does something like that, so where we go down through this line here, we will then have a lower low, and that will mean that we then have a third time frame turning point here with the lower high and the lower low, and that will mean that we then have a fourth time frame turning point right here. Now if that happens, I'll just blow it back again. If that happens, our focus will then be on this fourth time frame turning point low, because we would then want price to hold clearly above that to have confidence that the current uptrend is still in place. So we're right sitting on the boundary of that at the moment. I'll just get rid of that stuff that I've put in because it hasn't happened yet and it may not happen. Yes, and I'm just looking at another screen off to the side here, and at the moment the All Ords, the low for the day is 5,360, so it has not gone down through that yet. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with the rest of the day. I guess what it's suggesting is that there is a slight loss of confidence being shown here by the way the market's behaving. Is it going to drop down through this channel and go back to higher volatility? Is it even going to drop down to threaten this low here? We'll have to wait and see. The other thing to note is that it often happens, and technical analysts will make a big deal about it, that if a channel is broken on either side, so in this case on the low side, and that then proves to be a false break, i.e. the price bounces straight back into the channel, technical analysts will tell you there is a higher probability then of a breakout on the upside. So for example, if this were, instead of to plummet down here, if this were now to jump back into the channel, they would suggest that there is a stronger probability of a breakout up through there. Now we will just have to wait and see what transpires, but worth keeping an eye on. If I just go now to my current stocks that I own, what I've done is quite a few of them have started to look just a little less positive. So I have moved stops up on Sydney Airport, I've moved stops up on Technology One, I've moved stop up on WDS. Now Woodside is well worth looking at. As you know, I bought it back through here and I've been looking for a second entry point. What I was hoping for was a drop back to a green arrow above this one and take that turning point, but on Friday it gave a large kick up. So I have put a buy order just above the high of last Friday. So if we get a continued run there and we get something like this happening, then I'll have bought that this morning. However, if we get something like that happening, I'm not in it, which is the power of the buy stop automation. I don't have to make a decision to buy it, I just have to make a decision of where I would buy it, and then the automation takes over from there. A couple of stocks which I'll just change this. A couple of stocks which have shown fairly large movements, one on the good side and one on the not so good side. Melbourne IT, I noticed in the last little while, you can see a very strong breakout there. But if you blow it back just a little bit, maybe it's a bit further, or maybe it wasn't this stock, I'm sure it was, just a minute. It was further back than I thought. Okay. Okay, yeah, no, that's just me having a mind snap. All right, so we've got Melbourne IT. I'll bring it in closer now. That you can, well, let's clear that. You can see it's had a run up back here, but this was several years ago. It's come back down below $1.57 there, and has been bouncing around below that for some time with a low as far down as 80 cents. And it has just recently kicked up through that $1.57. Now, if we blow it in a little bit, we can see what the volume has been doing, and the volume hasn't been that impressive, but I think that's being distorted by that big high there. Yeah, so it hasn't, there's been no massive volume as it's gone through there, but it's a very clear breakout. The last time I took the data on this, it was paying 6.7% unfranked. It had a P of 17.5, and it had essentially no debt, with the next dividend due in September. The thing I noted there, there was a capital return in January 2014, which may have distorted the dividend figure. So that would be something to check, what the regular dividend rate is. But there's certainly been a change in sentiment in Melbourne IT, and the other one was NewSat. So NewSat, code NWT. If we knock this back, you can see quite clearly what's happened to that. So in this stock, you can see I've put various lines on that as it being in what we call a descending triangle, as the highs get lower, and at various places there forms a base underneath the price. But you can see a huge gap down from where it was just a few days ago, and it's gone straight through that floor price of 32 cents there. I'll bring it in a little closer so that's maybe a little clearer. So when was this? That was Friday, June the 6th, so that was a week ago. And then on the Monday, actually the Tuesday, maybe there was a day of lost trading, maybe, oh no, that was, yeah, it was that public holiday weekend. So when it opened on the Tuesday, it had closed on the Friday at 37.5. It opened on the Tuesday at 31.5. So it has dropped 6 cents in 30 odd cents. So that's maybe a 20% drop over a weekend. So Melbourne IT would be the kind of stock that attracts my attention. Something like NewSat is the kind of stock that I would be avoiding like the plague at the moment. So I hope that's given you some thoughts, and I will speak to you again later.